Here we go.
There we go.
We're off
Lights
skip.
out.
Half an hour of racing underway.
Can't stop, addicted to the shindig. Chopped out, it says I'm gonna win big. Choose not to like the limitation. This get us into the reservation. The pistol that you pay for. This part the feeling that you stay for. In time I want to be your best friend. Eastside love is living on the west end. Knocked out before you better come to. Don't die, you know the truth is some do. Go ask the dust for any answers. Come back strong with 50 belly dancers. The world I love, the tears I drop to be part of the wave. Can't stop. Ever wonder if it's all.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Sunday Sprint Series here at ACM. Obviously, just starting some of our quali laps. Obviously, he's about to come towards the line to start his first lap of qualifying. Obviously, quite a long circuit here at Kota for these GT3 cars, and obviously 10 minutes quali, and we're already knocking on the doors of 7 minutes. Yeah, so obviously 14 drivers tonight, so a fair few drivers in this race. Obviously, two 30-minute races involved. One with a reverse grid. So I have to see how it goes on. But I believe you have someone else in the commentary box. Maybe not.
Oh, sorry, was that my intro? I do apologise, everyone. Hello, hi, I'm Harry.
Yes, obviously, just completed 24 hours then at Simhaven. Obviously, one of our partner leagues. Obviously, 485 car. Obviously, unfortunately, not making it to the end of the race, but nonetheless, obviously, back here with a few of our drivers joining here for the Sunday Sprint Series at Kota. Obviously, not maybe a favoured track for some of the drivers. Obviously, got a lot of complaints already. But unfortunately for them, it is on the calendar, and they are going to have to suck it up, basically. The temperature then, 16 degrees ambient, 23 degrees track, so it will be a relatively easy race, no cloud cover in sight. So Usby then coming onto the back straight, as he had a very decent sector 1, as well. Actually, if I open race control, that would be useful. But yeah, obviously Usby coming back into the series once more, trying to make as much money as possible, but he goes a bit deep, and that will be the end of his lap, unfortunately. Obviously, a long track like Kota, 10 minutes quali, it's not really a lot, so we'll have to see how the drivers get on. Obviously, Usby was the first car to go out then, but other drivers as well tonight. Obviously, Banya, obviously one of this series' multiple podium finishers. We're looking to do that once again in the Aston Martin. So we'll have to keep an eye on their lap times, as I believe the next car to actually cross the line will be the 15, but I actually believe all of them are still on their out laps, so invalidated potentially. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I have to see everyone on the reset then, as Usby go on to start his actual lap for the first time. It was a 2:07 last time, but we did see him go deep, just a little halfway of quali left then. Into turn 1, Usby goes. Relatively clean turn 1, comes into turn 2. Some of these drivers will be taking more curb than others. You see Usby's not really wanting all of it at the moment. But yeah, obviously trying to cut as much of the track in this section to gain as much time, and obviously get the rotation in for some of these cars. Honestly, some of these cars will turn in a lot better than others, and at a track like this, turn in and top speed are the big factors. So we might see a vary of setups involved in all of this. So we'll have to see how it all goes. So Banya then, currently the best. It was a 2:05.1. That's currently 1.8 seconds clear of the other Aston of prior. So yeah, obviously Banya has done his practice. So not, like I said, it's not a track that we get to see often enough, and some drivers like it, some hate it. We'll have to see how they get on. As, I believe my ACC is probably about to crash. Oh no, it seems to be fine again. The frame's dropped for some reason. But again then, Usby then up on his lap time. Obviously it was a 2:07.5 last time around, and he's 3 seconds up on the Delta. This will be his first time lap. So at the moment looking for a 2:04, which would put him in provisional pole as it would stand. But he has lost a little bit of time on the exit, and I would imagine he'll be looking for a good couple final corners to round up his lap. He'll only have a couple more laps to go on quali. He'll only have a few more, obviously, wasting his first lap with the invalidation. When he come around the final corner, just around 3.5 seconds up on the Delta. So it's a fantastic final sector for Usby. Now 3.6, it does put him P2, so actually maybe not the lap I thought it was going to be, as a 6/10 off Benno. You know, he was one of the drivers not really enjoying Kota, and has some pace to find by the looks of it. Obviously his sponsor goals, he only needs to be in the top 40% for his main goal, so that's what he'll be aiming for today, I would imagine, just to get his money. And other news, other drivers as well. Hanak is back with us. Obviously he's backing off his lap by the looks of it, and he'll be looking up to go for his couple final laps. It's 2 minutes and 40 to go. Obviously it's around average lap here. It's average lap with our grid, maybe a 2:08, so take that as you will. But yeah, Hanak then around the final corner, and we're looking to start his lap. We'll go on board with Hanak then. A very loud McLaren, we won't be doing that. But yeah, we'll see the off-board then and see what his lines are through Sector 1 compared to the Ferrari. See the McLaren more aerodynamically stable, some could say. So I have to see how his lines might differ to Usby's and Banier's, as he seems to be taking not much more of that curb, and again maybe a little bit more. Yeah, he took a lot more curb there than anyone else so far on their quali laps, so that turn-in really helping out that McLaren, and we'll see what lap time he does indeed. But currently then he's be 4/10 up on the Delta. He will be coming round to set his final lap once he crosses the line once more. So he's got 4/10 at the moment, so it's going to put him 2/10 to Banier, but Banier is also currently a 1/10.5 up on the Delta as well. It's currently 6/10 improvement for Usby. It will, he's dropped a little bit on the exit there actually, so it needs to be a good final corner to recollect some of that time, and it is. It's going to put him back to 5.5 tenths, now 5/10, as you can see the race, the line, and Usby will come across it. It's not a great improvement. I think he backed off a little bit because no real improvement, or unless I'm seeing things maybe a bit bugged, but still 3/10 then. He's close to Bania, and Bania in the pits then, so Bania won't be setting any more laps. Usby currently has the fastest sector 3 of them all, and be looking now to open this sector 1 a little bit more. Currently then is Droz in the P3 in the Audi, currently doing a very good job to put himself P3 at the moment. And then it's Pryor, Jemiel, Kelly in the pit lane also, and it's Peter, the other Marcin. Also we know is very quick, and I would imagine we would see him up on the grid, but seems to be struggling, fighting the McLaren even through sector 1, so maybe not enjoying Kota, a bit like Usby. I'll have to see how it goes for them. Obviously Ben Gilrick currently doing an outlap, so I'm not sure what his plan is particularly, but he will go on to set a single qualifying lap. He's got 10 seconds to cross the line, and he will start a lap, and that's for sure. Currently Hanak also starting a lap as well. Some of these drivers still yet to set a lap time. We'll have to see. See the checkered flag has dropped, so now it's just, you know, these cars left on track at the moment, yet to finish. Usby then is pretty much equal with the Delta, so not much improvement for Usby. He's got to find 3/10 in this final sector to get pole position, but at the moment it's looking like a P2 for Usby, unless anything else changes. But the number 62, that's Maple, just ahead of him on an invalidated lap, will not be setting a lap time and will be starting last in qualifying of race 1. Usby down on Delta then, another 10th up, 10th down, sorry. It actually equals the Delta again, so has found some couple tenths in the final sector, but it's not going to be enough to set an improvement. But Peter then looking for a P3 actually, as you see as he comes down the back straight. Then it's currently looking like a 2/10 delta improvement, and this currently will put him into P3. So it'll be a great lap for Peter in that BMW. Still now knocking on the door of 3/10, so he's definitely finding some pace in the BMW, and that's for sure. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely got some pace now. 6/10, so he's still finding time, and it should be within a second even of Banier's pole time, but he has lost time on the exit of that corner, and the gap is now sitting around 2.5 tenths, and now losing even more, but it's still enough. He only needs a very minuscule amount of delta to get himself into P3, but he's lost all that time on the exit, so he might not actually get the time. He's got to find like very minimal. I think he's got it though. He's found the 10th in the final corner, and yeah, that will be a P3 for Peter, but he's actually lost all the time on down the straight, so he didn't get the improvement, but Hanak has allowed him to get into P3 as well. So Peter losing all the time on the exit then, and Hanak getting the lap in at the last moment. So obviously that is our grid then. It's Banier, Huseby, Hanak, the Audi, Peter, Pryor, Jamil, Kelly, and obviously Marcin. So obviously not having the best of laps. Maybe not you're getting used to the track just yet. But at the moment then, see Gilrick not setting a lap time. Obviously we have seen him do that quite a few times, so don't be too worried. He just tends to like to do that. So he'll be starting 12th with Darkness and Maple behind. And yeah, I mean, we'll have to see how it goes for the drivers. We'll get shortly to the race 1 race. We'll quickly, while we wait for them, we'll go to the ACM ad, and you guys can, obviously, if you're not already, get yourself signed.
Here we go.
There we go.
We're off
Lights
skip.
out. Half an hour of racing underway.
Can't stop, addicted to the shindig. Chop top, it says I'm gonna win big. Choose not to like of imitation. Distant us into the reservation. The pistol that you pay for. This pump, the feeling that you stay for. In time, I want to be your best friend. Eastside love is living on the west end. Knocked out before you better come to. Don't die, you know the truth is some do. Go ask the dust for any answers. Come back strong with 50 million answers. The world I love, the tears I drop to be part of the wave can't stop. Ever wonder if it's all for you?
Welcome back everyone, as we're about to get away then for the formation lap. A little bit of a delay on the qualifying, moving the time over. Darkness says gonna be P2 for the second race, can't wait to get punted around by Mark. Well, that's not what everyone thinks of Mark, of course. But yeah, obviously drivers on the reverse grid are more careful, because it's going to be interesting for these drivers, because they'll be starting at the front of the grid, and so the fast drivers will be starting at the back, and it's sometimes gets a little bit messy. But hopefully with a smaller grid today, it shouldn't be as bad. But 36 or 35 seconds now until the formation lap, and we'll get away for our first 30 minutes of racing. I wouldn't imagine there'll be too much going on or action-wise mid-race, but at the start and at the end, I'd imagine we'll have some great battling as these guys are turning the engines on then, as we'll start to get away for the formation lap. It's be interesting to see actually who's going to get the better launch. I think Hanak, if he times it just right, and he's pretty much on on the boundaries of his box and on the speed limiter, then he should get a fantastic start against the Ferrari and the Aston. And I could even see Hanek, into P1 by turn 1. Obviously, Kota is quite a wide track, especially on that main straight, so definitely the room for 3 cars to go into turn 1. Not that obviously we encourage it, because sometimes it can get a little bit chaotic, but you can see there on that thing, you can see how wide it is, but obviously it tightens at the apex, so these drivers are going to be a little bit more careful in how they make their moves. We're away then as we enter sector 1. We're interested to see what each and every driver's idea is. Obviously Giorgio starting in P12, he'll be looking to make his way through the top. Again, obviously he's exceeded his box on it, as you can see he's at the back, but yeah, obviously some of these drivers, obviously Marcin, obviously one of our drivers that was battling the other Marcin, in some of these races, already not having the best qualifying start as he starts P8, so maybe not getting used to the conditions, maybe not used to Kota at all. We'll have to see, hopefully that McLaren can pick up some pace come the end of the first 30 minutes and see if he can make his way up to the top. Obviously, it's a great qualifying result for the number 37 Audi, as he will be looking as well to try and make the most of his qualifying position to get a good result for him and his team. Other than that then, it will be Marcin Bania leading us away in the Aston as they come now into the back straight. Obviously quite a long formation lap at Kota, due to the track being fairly long, but you can see a lot of drivers exceeding their box limits as the Audi is parked up as well. It's not going to do too well for the tyres if they're sitting, so ideally you want to stay in your box as much as possible, or just not stop completely. But yeah, as you start to see now, they'll start to slowly enter their way into sector 3. You can see them all in the background then, all weaving, trying to get some tyre temp into the car. In GT3 cars, it's not really often that you are weaving, because you tend to lose more performance than you gain from it. It's fairly easy to hold the brakes in these GT3 cars and gain some tyre temp. You see Mark very weaving, and that's probably not going to help his pressures at all. But we'll have to see how it works out for him. Obviously the track is optimum and the temperature is relatively warm and good for racing, so I wouldn't imagine these guys have too much of a problem with tyre temps, unless obviously they set the tyre pressures wrong. But yeah, I mean, hopefully come the start of this race then we'll have a good launch. Obviously Hanek starting in P3 will be looking forward to getting a good launch in that McLaren. We know that McLaren is very quick on the acceleration, especially off the start line, so we'll be hopefully making the most of that McLaren and trying to catch the top 2 guys off guard then. You see they're lining up in their side-by-side formation, and they'll be reaching the edge of their boxes now, and you see Usby outside of his box, just trying to get a little bit closer. You see it from a better camera angle here. I'm not sure how close the line is on this. I'm pretty sure the line is the second checkered line. There's obviously 2 at Kota, but we'll see it usually then side by side, and that's not the best camera angle, but it might be the best camera angle, because this is where they might be going green. I could be mistaken though, we'll have to find out shortly, but there is the man with the green flag. If he waves it, that's another story, but they get closer and closer to the start line then, and it will be green in literally seconds, and it is green. It is green. You see him waving, and it's Bania then into turn 1. You see Hanak's got a great start, but the Audi's also got a fantastic start. Hanak then up the inside of Usby. Usby covers it off pretty nicely, and both of them going, Usby going quite wide. It's allowed Hanak actually to get the better line and actually get through on Usby into P2. They go. Bania just holding on nicely to P1, but you can see that's Jemiel and Peter in the background then, side by side, and multiple cars going side by side. As contacts made actually, that's allowed the other Marcin to make a place on Peter as well. So Marcin already making places, and Darkness currently up into P11, making some moves on the start, and Ben Guro then at the back trying to filter his way through the field. But yeah, what a chaotic start that was. Plenty of position moving up and down. You can see That's rejected Maple and Ben Gilroy going side by side there. So Maple giving Ben a bit of the curb to show for, but Banya then leads us by 7/10 of a second. There's Hanak P2 and Usby P3, and that Albi had a fantastic start to almost fight for the podium places, but currently in P4 doing fantastic. Gemuel then is we're looking to try and catch that gap, but the gap then between Gemuel and the number 15 McLaren is a second. Obviously only the first lap, of course, but the BMW already looking for moves on the other. Marcin brakes a lot early compared to those guys, but you can see Gemuel all over the back of the Audi, super close. And actually I think those position changes for Mark and Darkness, up and down. I think Darkness lost position to Mark in the end there. We'll have to see, keep an eye on that as that goes on once.
Gilroy's just got up the inside as well of Russell.
Ben Gilroy obviously making those moves as well, so it's really interesting to see off the start. Obviously Ben Gilroy was holding back on the start, but now is pushing flat out to see if he can catch some of the guys at the top. But yeah, what a chaotic start it was, actually only now has crossed the line to finish lap 1 then. So it's still Banya then leading Hanak, who's leading Usby, who's leading the Audi, who's Gemuel, all over the back of the Audi. And go on board with Gemuel, and will he send a dive into turn 1? He looks to the left, he does go to the inside. Here's Gemuel up the inside, and he goes a little bit, he doesn't, he takes a nice apex. I thought he looked like he was going to go wide, but he doesn't. And it's a lovely move from Gemuel to put himself up into P4. What a great race so far between these guys, battling side by side. Then Ben Gilroy, next on his list is Mark, who's currently 1.6 seconds from Kelly and P9. So Mark, Ben Gilroy will be looking for a move on Mark relatively shortly then, but the gap at the top now just over a second, so Banya really pushing at the moment and trying to build as much of a gap as he can moving forward, as Ben Gilroy still literally pushing Mark through half of these corners, as you would expect. Ben Gilroy then might even look for a move onto the straight if he plays it right. He does look to the inside, and it should be a fairly simple pass for Ben Gilroy. Mark doesn't really fight it all too much, but he is going to fight it. Mark did look to the outside, but has a little bit of contact with Ben Gilroy. I don't think anything majorly serious there, but Ben Gilroy up into P10 then, as the battle continues for Gilroy. Okay then, so at the top, Usby 8/10 of a second behind Hanak, so these guys, you start to see their pace start to set in then, as they start to come round towards the end of lap 2. Obviously 26 minutes left of racing. It is quite a long lap here at Kota. It's around averagely 2:08 for our drivers, as Darkness actually losing multiple positions to multiple cars, as he seems to be in the midst of fighting Gosel and Mark, but Mark all over the curbs. Going to allow Darkness actually all the way around the outside. I wonder if he can pull this one off. It'd be quite cool if he does, and he does. It's still going all the way around the outside, but Mark with that inside line is going to hold that position for now. But Marcin in the number 15 all over the back of the Audi, as we saw Gemuel get through just a lap before, and I'd imagine Marcin then in the number 15 will be trying a repeat move then on the Audi. If he can make it stick, I would imagine he pulls to the inside and doesn't think about it just yet. Maybe looking for it elsewhere as the Audi holds on for now, but it is Mark and Darkness side by side down the straight. Darkness giving a little bit of a squeeze to Mark, but Mark is still going to have the inside line, and Darkness still looking for it, but he's got to watch that Porsche in the background as well, as that fight continues ever so much more. Marcin does make the move then on the number 37 Audi, as he'll start to chase onto Gemuel, so maybe had a poor qualifying, but is definitely making up for it in the race so far, as the top gaps then everyone's separated by around the second now, so everyone starts to spread out. You can see the gap Hanak has to Usby is a lot more than the Banya has to Hanak, so yeah, that's really interesting to see. But actually our main focus is the battle at the end of the grid. But Harry, how is the steward sheet looking? I'm not sure if you're muted again.
Yes, I was muted. What was the question, sorry?
How is the steward sheet looking?
Yeah, barely anything, to be honest, at the moment. We had 3 contacts at the start, which were mainly sort of slight door banging. Eusebio and Hanak had a little bit of door banging going into the first corner, or the exit off, should I say. So yeah, it's all looking clean so far, and I think to be honest that's what we want, because obviously the second race is a reverse grid of the first race, so you know, you kind of want to keep it clean for the first race and do what you can in the second race as well.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, these drivers will get to know each other a little bit more, as it will help to help them and their racecraft in the second race. But actually, the Audi, number 37, is actually looking all over the back of the McLaren already. So obviously, I just got past last lap, but not giving Marcin the easiest of times in the mirrors, as the Audi is looking so strong as he goes a little bit wide on the penultimate corner of this racetrack. But still, then it is Bagnaia currently leading by 1.4 seconds out front, followed by Hanak and then Usby. So our closest battle at the moment is actually Darkness and Mark for 13th place, and this will be quite a battle. I know these guys are quite similar pace and obviously know each other pretty well, so they'll be looking to battle as hard as possible. You can see Mark defending to the inside. Mark then pulls out to the outside as Darkness up the inside, and I would imagine this will be a pass for Darkness. If he can make it stick, he can. But Mark does have a little bit of a late apex, which might give him a better exit down into sector 1. Let's see how it works, but no, Mark tucks in pretty nicely. But Ben Guro then has made his way up the order and is now all over the back of Pryor and Peter as he looks to make a position. But Pryor up the inside of Peter then. That was not really an expected move that I saw coming, and maybe Peter making a little bit of a mistake, but it is going to allow Ben Guro around the outside to make the move from Pryor. So a mistake from Peter allowed Pryor to get an opportunity, but obviously has actually come out worse because of it. I imagine this Mustang now that close to the back of that BMW will be a pass for Ben Guro. So just within a lap he's going to gain 2 positions here at Kota. Peter defends to the middle, and Ben Guro is still going to have the inside for this corner. Peter goes back to the racing line, but Ben Guro is still in the middle of the track then. Looking to hold this, as he holds the inside and he does get past. Very fairly standard and clean move then for Ben Guro, as he will look now to close the 1.5 second gap to the Audi and the McLaren, as that Audi is still holding on strong as they both cars chase after Gemion in P4 then. There's actually the McLaren making a bit of a mistake. It's actually allowed the Audi to really close on the bumper of the McLaren. McLaren sliding through that corner as well. So maybe, like we said in quali, that Marcin, the number 15 McLaren, is not looking too comfortable currently on the track. Obviously, these guys, you can see a little bit of the train. If they're going to Helicam, you might see it a little bit better. But yeah, these guys in a train, so one mistake and you pretty much lose in position. But you can see Ben Guro is already on the back of the Audi. And Ben Guro, actually, I imagine, will be literally looking for a pass into turn 1 due to that straight line speed of that Mustang. It does. Pulls to the outside, the inside, sorry, and he goes to the inside and sends up the inside, and it will be a very nice pass for Ben Guro. The Audi tries to hold it on the outside, can't make it stick. It gets all over the curbs and has to cede that position, unfortunately. You see Pryor still looking for a move on Peter then, but it was a nice camera angle from Kunoff once. But Ben Guro then will be the next target for him will be the 15 McLaren. Obviously, I haven't seen performing the best like usual. A mistake from that McLaren actually, and a mistake from the Audi in the background as he goes off track. Unfortunate to see, but still the Mustang continues on as the Audi rejoins in between Pryor and Peter. You can see there, and Kelly also in this train as well. So plenty of action spread across the grid. But Ben Guro, a tenth of a second, is going to send a dive bomb up the inside into before the back straight, and does so. A little bit of contact made, but nothing too serious, as Ben Guro then will now continue on his push. He's currently in P5 from P12 this race, and be looking to close the Gemion. Not much the number 15 McLaren could do there, but we'll stay on board then with the 37 Audi, who's probably looking to chase after Peter in the BMW. Has done a great job so far to fight all these guys. Obviously, like Harry said, we have got a reverse grid after this one, so plenty of action still yet to come as we hit the 20-minute mark. Just 10 minutes have passed already, and there's still plenty of action going on, and we've got 20 more minutes. But yeah, Koshiera says, watch out if you pit. Indeed. Obviously, none of these drivers will be making a scheduled pit stop today, as it is only 30 minutes with no mandatory pit stops. But obviously, if they have got damage, of course, they've got to be careful of that pit lane speed limiter, as Koshiera knows so well. But yeah, I mean, Ben Guro then still on the back of Gemion. Has really done well to get into the pace then. It's only the top two in the 05s. It was an 05.1 last time round for Bagnaia. That was the fastest lap of the race, and it was an 05.7 for Hanak. So 6 tenths difference then between Bagnaia and Hanak. So 707 Aston Martin doing just fine at the moment. But it's Ben Guri looking for a move from Jemiel then, coming into sector 1, looking left, looking right. Jemiel's going to block it off nicely, and Ben Guri still has to look somewhere else for the move. You can see how much later more confident he is, but he's going to go to the inside as Jemiel leaves the space. Gets a little bit of a tap, I think, or maybe a mistake from Jemiel, but that Porsche is sliding everywhere, and Ben Guri to try and make his way through as carefully as he can. But otherwise, it's going to cost him time, but I don't think it's going to cost him too much time, because that Marcin's sliding as well. You just saw, Jesus, as he's sliding all across. But that's Ben Guri up the inside again, just like he did on Marcin last lap, and Jemiel lets him go there. I think there were no, sorry, that's Ben Guri making a mistake. He breaks a lot deeper and makes a mistake on Jemiel, but Jemiel allowed to get back through, but it's mainly a matter of time for Ben Guri, as it's that straight on speed of that Mustang is really allowing for some great overtaking opportunities. He might even get Jemiel back on the straight. He does, pulls to the inside, later on the brakes, and the Porsche turns in a little bit, gives Bennett the squeeze, and Porsche is still going to hold the inside to this corner. Jemiel doing so well to hold into position, and Ben Guri is going to have to try again. That's actually the first time I've seen someone hold that position after the straight, and especially against the Mustang. So great driving from Jemiel then to hold that position. And I believe, yes, I think Pryor was trying to make a move on the Audi and doesn't get one done, but these guys are still relatively close as well, so we've got to be careful of these guys. But it is the Mustang and the Porsche getting oh so close once again. So these guys really close to each other's bumpers. We have to be really confident in each other. It's Ben Guri then sending another move up the inside on the final corner. These two will be side by side down the straight, but due to the straight line speed, of the Ford, I'd imagine that will be a simple pass to Ben Guri. It is. Jemiel does look to the inside, but nothing much can be done against that, of course, because of that power of that Ford Mustang. But don't count Jemiel out. If he, that Porsche is still very good on acceleration. If he gets the line right, then it could be a move. But at the moment, then, it's Ben Guri 8.2 seconds trailing from Usbeat in P3. So I wonder how he gets on. Obviously, he had a bit while overtaking. He was slower on the lap time, so this lap will be his first clean lap. I say clean lap, but his first actual lap where we'll see his raw pace in clean air. So I have to keep an eye on it. But look at the train we've got going all the way behind Jemiel. Then I'll say a little bit of a gap between, but still a relatively good sized gap. But if you look down the grid, then it is Maple chasing after Will Gosel in the Audi, currently 5 tenths of a second. It is a Porsche versus the Audi, and you see how much later that Porsche is braking than the Audi. So I'd imagine it'd be a move for rejected Maple relatively shortly, getting the slipstream then 3 tenths of a second coming down the back straight, and maybe not as quick as the Audi in a straight line. But yeah, I mean, some great battling already in 15 minutes to go now, so we've already gone half the race distance for race 1. Will finds it necessary to actually block the middle of the track, but it is going to allow the Porsche to get the switch back if he can hold it nicely. Luckily Will does cover it off, but yeah, Will obviously seeing the threat quite often enough, but the Porsche is obviously right on his bumper, and we're really careful of that coming to these corners. But still, these guys battle onwards. Still Kelly getting ever closer to the back of Pryor, and we'll be looking for a move up into P9. Obviously these guys in the train, so if he make an overtake, he's got to continue pushing on, otherwise he might get re-overtaken from behind if he's not careful. But still then, Jemiel, sorry, Ben Guri has dropped 3.5 seconds to Jemiel, as actually the 15 McLaren looking very close to the back of Jemiel. Maybe the 15 McLaren finding some of this pace now, 15 minutes into the race, and actually kind of pushing Jemiel through the turn 1, now into turn 2. Obviously just behind we saw BMW losing their position to the Audi, so the Audi has got through now into P7 as he'll look to try rejoin or try catch back up to Jemiel. But yeah, that is Peter losing position to the Audi. He's got to be careful because of this train just behind him. I also believe that's rejected Maple getting past on Will Gosel as well. So plenty of position swaps in the first race. I'll have to see how that goes to everyone. The gap between these two then, 0.2 of a second. And I'd imagine the McLaren will be looking very pass on the straight because the Porsche's track line speed is not all that great. You can see actually Martin bouncing all up and down the curves trying to look for a move on the Porsche. That's going to make him have such a poor exit. He won't get the straight line speed down the straight, unfortunately. There is a position gain for Kelly. I believe Pryor and the BMW made a mistake. We'll have to quickly go back 15 seconds just to watch that. Oh, there is contact between Pryor and the BMW, which has allowed Kelly to get through. So unfortunate to see some bigger contact. I think Pryor did let the BMW go, which is good sportsmanship, of course, but unfortunate to see a little bit of contact, but nothing serious, as Kelly now finds himself in P8 then. Still the 15 McLaren will have to try again to close back up to Gemion, as the gap sits at 0.6 of a second then. We've got 13 minutes left in this race, and obviously we've got another 30 minutes after this one, and then that will be, I believe, at the end of the Sunday Sprint Series. But obviously at ACM we have plenty of events planned, and we've got the Supercharged Sunday is the next one, so plenty of action yet to come on a Sunday. Obviously other races as well, like the Mini Endurance Series, and obviously all part of career mode. Obviously career mode is a big part of ACM at the moment. Obviously everyone at ACM working extremely hard, and obviously Harry working the absolute hardest, trying to fix everything with career mode at the moment, and has obviously done a fantastic job in doing so. Obviously with career mode you can buy your own car with the coins you earn from each and every race, and obviously drive how you want. Obviously you can be part of teams as well, and you can earn money through that. So plenty of things on the horizon, as well as obviously in January we'll get the fully revised version of career mode, and really excited about that, Harry.
Yeah, it's been a lot of work, obviously, with the trial season at the moment, especially with sort of the results and how that sort of stuff works. But I think we've got most of that sorted today. So if we can now knuckle down and get on and sorted with what's come for the next year, I think we're in a good position for it. So if you're not involved already with the trial season, get involved for the new year. It's going to have more in it. It's going to be a lot more races. It's going to be more fun.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really excited to see obviously how that pans out as well, because like I was mentioning about teams and stuff, you have your own sponsors. As you see, actually Will Gossell's car has got some of those sponsors on his car, so it's great to see obviously some of these drivers running they're not really, they're fake in terms of the companies don't exist, but in our career mode obviously the drivers will take that as a real sponsor and try and meet their targets. Like I was mentioning earlier against Usby, his target for this race will be a top 40% for his main goal, and then his team goal is a 60% finish in the top 60%. So obviously he's got his own targets at the moment, and he's currently on target for both of those. But he's got to be careful though, because Ben Gilroy is closing that gap. It was 8 seconds and now it's 3. We've got 10 minutes to go then into this race, and if this pace continues, then I'd imagine that Ben Gilroy will catch Usby. But I'll have to see how that goes. But currently then, Pryor chasing back after the BMW. So we'll have to see how that works out for these two. Obviously making a little bit of contact the lap before it, but have worked their issues. You see Pryor bouncing up and down all over the curbs, which is not really ideal in this situation, but still the gap 1.1 seconds then, as these two maybe try and close back up to Kelly. I haven't really been paying attention to that gap, but I'll keep you updated if it changes. But everyone still relatively close then. It was a personal best for Pryor last time round, and speaking of lap times though, Marcin Bania, the only person to stay in the 2-minute 5s. Last time round was a 2-minute 5.5, and for Hanaki it was a 2-minute 6.3. So yeah, Bania has got some serious pace around here, and actually so does Ben Gilroy, because maybe Bania was the only one in the 205s, but Ben Gilroy is the only one in the 204s. He did a 204.9 last time round, and his fastest lap of the race is a 204.7. So yeah, and the gap is 1.3 seconds now to Usby, and that Mustang is really hauling at the moment throughout this track. There's like 9 minutes to go then. We'll have to see how it goes with these drivers. Obviously, like I said, like we mentioned before, we have got another 30 minutes after this, so don't disappear. We have got another, and that's obviously reverse grid. So obviously the drivers starting at the front will be starting at the back, So obviously adds an extra layer of well, intrigue to the race. Of course, obviously, like Darkness was mentioning, he will be starting P2 alongside Mark Mass. So obviously, some of these drivers giving them the opportunity to fight at the top of the field and give them that experience. It's definitely a great thing as they work very hard to try and get faster and faster. I think it is doing them favours. But Ben-Gurion then within the second of Usby, and you would like to imagine Ben-Gurion will be trying to get past Usby at any point. But Usby is one of those people that won't want to give the position up so easily, and he'll want that podium very much so. So 8 minutes 30 then on the clock, and we could see a pass very soon. But as like I said, I mean, Usby's not really going to have much choice. You know, if Gurion gets a good run on the back straight against that Ferrari, there's nothing he can really do. That straight line speed will just completely wipe the Ferrari out. So I have to see what Ben-Gurion does. A mistake from Ben-Gurion actually, as we weren't on board with him. But still, 0.7 of a second is the gap. It was 0.5. It is 0.5 now. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how close, or even if this could be an overtake on the back straight, but they are turning into the back straight now. The gap is 0.6 of a second and closing. Obviously, the slipstream doesn't really take effect until around 0.4 of a second. Also, but you do get the tow within a second. But the slipstream effect doesn't really happen until last minute. But we'll go on board the passenger cam then. You can see how rapidly Ben-Gurion is closing on Usby. And yeah, really close now, and probably potentially looking for a move either in this final sector. As Usby goes deep, Usby has gone deep. There's contact between the two, but Usby still holding the inside. Yeah, Usby making a mistake then, has allowed Ben-Gurion to try to get alongside, but Usby holds on just for now. But yeah, he's got Ben-Gurion all in his mirrors at the moment, so it's not something I expected to see this early on. But Ben-Gurion is literally on his bumper. You can see how close he is. We'll go on the wing cam. You can see that Mustang is pretty much pushing Usby through the corner. And yeah, I mean, this is extremely close at the moment. We've got another battle with the Kelly and the 37 Audi, but we'll quickly stay on board with these guys because Ben-Gurion could be looking for a pass as Usby goes deep once again, which has allowed Ben-Gurion to get through. Not much he can really do to fight against that, but he did look to the outside and decides better of it. And that's Usby then down into P4 and Ben-Gurion up into P3 then. As he continues on, and I wouldn't imagine Usby can do much about that to fight that back at all because of the raw pace of that Mustang. But we'll see if that changes at all. But it is Kelly then, 0.6 of a second behind the 37 Audi, looking for a move very shortly. He has been catching over the next couple of laps, but the guys behind then, Peter and Pryor, obviously were ahead of Kelly prior to their incident, but yeah, obviously now Kelly ahead, but they're not really catching all too much, so I have to keep an eye on that. But Kelly trying to catch the Audi as quickly as possible and see if he can improve his position up to P7. But that Audi, although qualified fantastically, has dropped a few positions in this race so far. They have dropped, I will just check, yeah, they've dropped 4 positions. So obviously it's starting in P4. They should have started P4, but it says, I don't know, race control being a bit weird, but we'll have to see how that goes. But Usby then now outside of the second on that straight, and I know the gap was quite close, but on that straight that Mustang really does pull away, and not much Usby can do then. But obviously Kelly is our closest battle on track at the moment, and if he looks to chase down the Audi, he is doing so, and he might even get a pass next time round. But we've got 5 minutes to go, so that'll be roughly about 3 laps of racing, depending on when Pania crosses the line. He's in some of the final corners now, so we'll see how that goes for him. But yeah, Kelly currently on the bumper then of the Audi. The Audi making a mistake, goes a little bit deep, has allowed Kelly to catch up just a little bit more on the bumper. The Audi taking a slightly different line to Kelly for the corner. I know he was taking even shallower lines when he was being overtaken by the number 15 McLaren. Obviously maybe trying a bit more of a normal line. We'll have to see how that works out for him though, as Kelly has dropped the gap a little bit to even more. It's down 0.4 of a second. So yeah, these guys are getting very, very, very close. Us as well. The number 15 McLaren also catching Jamil. You can see that just ahead of these two. So to keep an eye on both of these battles as they happen at the pretty much exact same time. But yeah, fastest lap then still for Gilroy. An incredible lap time is a 2:04.7 if you remember correctly, and holds all purple sectors. No one is really stopping him at the moment. He has dropped the gap down to Hanak to around 5 seconds at the moment, but doubt he'll catch Hanak before the end of the race unless a mistake is made. But Kelly then, so we've got on bonnet cam. So this is how Kelly races. This is exactly what a driver POV will look like when on board with Kelly. So you're seeing exactly what Kelly's seeing, and he's going to see the train of cars. And obviously with McLaren and Gemio fighting, it's going to allow the Audi and Kelly to make their way back up the grid. As now they're looking around just over 3 seconds, the gap between Kelly and Gemio. So not too bad at all between them. And yeah, I mean, it's been pretty good. But actually, someone's race we haven't talked about all too much is Maple. Maple has gained 3 positions. Obviously started in last place and is now in P11. So at the moment, driving a fantastic race in that 62 Porsche, and we'll be looking for an even better race on the reverse grid. But that is the McLaren up the inside of Gemio. Obviously Gemio having an earlier battle with Ben Gilroy and is more experienced on this part of the track. But still side by side they go. You can see Marcin then fighting the McLaren. He's not happy with the McLaren's turn in by the looks of it, and you can see the Audi all over the bumping out of the McLaren. So now this the two battles have conjoined together into one, so it's now a 4-way battle as we head on to the final 2.5 minutes of racing to go. You can see Marcin really struggling. You can see him, he's counter steering through half of these corners. I know Yusuke was saying it's getting quite slippy, but the track is optimum. So maybe Marcin maybe not happy with the setup, maybe not as comfortable with the car or track, or a mixture of both, but still looking to get past Gemio into the top 5. Looks to the outside, and Gemio going to hold it off nicely, but it's going to allow the Audi to get alongside the McLaren. But luckily the McLaren, with the better acceleration, will get away with it. But yeah, that's what it means about costing you time. You know, if you look for a gap or look to the outside, but the Audi going miles off the track, that is not the racing line that is going to allow Kelly into P7. Then that is not what the Audi needed. He was looking so good, so good this race, and has dropped another place to Kelly. But still, all to play for, as these guys are all so close. But yeah, like I was saying, Marcin maybe not happy, but if you go to the outside line, you can really compromise yourself from the cars behind. And he's currently trailing, but the number 27 then, that's Peter, has got a drive-through penalty for track limits within only half an hour. So obviously not ideal at all, but obviously he's going to have to serve that, and that's going to be more places from everyone behind. So he's going to drop to last place, or just about last place because of that. So it's going to allow more places for the guys behind. But yeah, obviously these guys so close. The Audi might look for a re-overtake on Kelly, but Kelly's looking for an overtake on the McLaren. That's the Audi going all the way around the outside of Kelly into the corners. Kelly getting really close to the McLaren. Big curb take for the Audi then. 48 seconds of this race, so we have one more lap of racing then as Bania starts his final lap. And there's confirmation then from the engineer. Yes, the number 37 Audi still very much on the back of Kelly, taking a lot of those curves. He's got to try to dial it in a little bit more to try and stay on track, otherwise he might end up with a driver penalty, a bit like Peter, and that's not what he wants at this stage of the race when he's so close behind Kelly. Coming on to their final lap of the race, currently the gap 0.2 of a second. Kelly has a 7/10 gap to the McLaren. Obviously the more these two fight, that means the McLaren's going to get away. Peter not going to serve his drive through. He'll have to get that added to the race time in that case. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it auto converts, but we'll have to see come the end of the race. Kelly then now losing time to the McLaren, but the McLaren's made a mistake on the exit of the corner. It's actually allowed, as I said, that Kelly to look for a move potentially into sector 1 they go. Yeah, I mean, I was not expecting that on the final lap. You see Kelly lifting, trying to avoid contact and just trying to get a better exit than the McLaren ahead. Obviously, we know Marcin is not happy with the setup whatsoever. He's not confident in that McLaren like he usually is. Obviously, he'd be fighting the other Marcin at the top by now. Obviously, not his track at the moment. But yeah, I know a lot of these drivers do not like this track, but it is one of those tracks I think go heavily under the radar. But say final lap down, you can see how close all these guys are. Say Gemio's not that far away at all either. It's only 1.2 seconds. So for these guys to stay this close within half an hour of racing, definitely incredible. That was a mistake from the McLaren on the exit, and it might actually allow Kelly to get a bit of a slipstream. It is 0.4 of a second, so a slipstream for Kelly is needed. But obviously allowing, I don't think he's that close enough to be able to make a move, and that's another mistake from Marcin then. But the other Marcin has led every lap of this race, has completely dominated with an 8-second gap. It is Marcin Bagnaia then to take the win.
Leader has finished the race.
Fantastic race for them, as Hanak will come across in second place to finish P2. It was a great race for him, and Ben Gilroy, who's gained many places, has just finished P3 then, as he overtook Usby not a couple of laps ago, and it will be Usby then to cross the line to P4, and then our battle then for P5 in total. It will be Gemion, who has built a gap of around 1.5 seconds. Will be finishing in P5 alongside the other Marcin in the McLaren. We'll have to see how he gets on in the next race with that McLaren. Also, not happy with it at the moment. We'll be finishing P5 and P6 for those guys, and with Kelly in P7, and we the Audi and the BMW in P8 and P9 respectively. Great race between all these guys, and Pryor in P10, Maple, very nice P11, getting 3 places from last place, and then it'll be Will Gossett with the next one to cross the line, and then it'll be Darkness and Mark Mass with the next drivers to cross the line. Obviously Darkness having an earlier fight with Mark and has got ahead of Mark by a fair few seconds, 9.3 the gap. But yeah, Darkness now crossing the line then to finish for a P13 finish. Great result for them. And then Mark Mass, the last one to cross the line then. And we'll quickly take a short break while we prepare for race 2, and we'll be back again for the reverse grid of the final 30.
Here we go.
There we go.
We're off
Lights
skip.
out.
Half an hour of racing underway.
Can't stop, addicted to the shindig. Chop top, it says I'm gonna win big. Choose not to like no imitation. Just get us into the reservation. The pistol that you pay for. This part the feeling that you stay for. In time I want to be your best friend. Eastside love is living on the west end. Knocked out before you better come to. Don't die, you know the truth is some do. Go ask the dust for any answers. Come back strong with 50 million answers. The world I love, the tears I drop to be part of the wave. Can't stop. Ever wonder if it's all for you?
Here we go.
There we
We're
go.
off skip.
Lights out.
Half an hour of racing underway.
Can't stop, addicted to the shindig. Chop top, it says I'm gonna win big. Choose not to like no imitation. Just get us into the reservation. The pistol that you pay for. This part the feeling that you stay for. In time I want to be your best friend. Eastside love is living on the west end. Knocked out before you better come to. Don't die, you know the truth is some do. Go ask the dust for any answers. Come back strong with 50 million answers. The
Here we go.
Welcome back, everyone. So we are back now for the second race. It is now Mark Mass on pole. Obviously, all the race results. So it'll be Mark Mass. Obviously, Peter tactical drive through to put himself into P2, of course. But still, nonetheless, you got the fast drivers at the back. Obviously, Marcin Bania at the back of the field. Obviously, won the first race. Now looking to try and make his way as many distance as he can in the second. Obviously Hanak then P13, Gilroy P12. You could some say that would be a little bit of an advantage to Gilroy after that pace he has got, but nonetheless he starts in P12 exactly where he started in the first race, and is then Usby in P11, and obviously Jamiel Kelly and some of the other guys. So it's been a great midfield battle, obviously, but there's a lot of drivers at the top. As we know, Maple had a very good race, obviously a good start to the race last time and finished quite highly. So they'll be looking to see what they can do against some of these other guys at the top then. But it will be Mark who will lead us away for the green flag running. So obviously he's done this a few times now, so has sort of got a feeling of when he'll be hitting the pedal to go, but obviously it's I'd imagine a track not many people have done, so not everyone knows where the line is, but luckily we do. We've seen the line, we've got a great camera angle off the line, luckily for us. But yeah, you can start to see everyone now. As interested to see who will take the win of this race. You got any predictions, Harry? I mean, personally, I think it'll be Ben Gilroy in that 34 Mustang.
Yeah, well, he's certainly going to have a good shot at it, and I think so is sort of the likes of Hanak and Bania as well. However, Lou Pertz, I think, has a very decent shot of at least placing very high. If he can get a good start and a great, get away at the start, he can build up a gap of at least 10-15 seconds. He could be in for, top 3 at least.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, depending on how quickly the guys at the back make their way through the field. But like you say, obviously Lupert's still in P2, tactical drive-through in the last race to get himself into this position. But still, obviously, that's going to affect his race robin result. But he might have a good shot at race 2, as all he has to do is overtake Mark, and obviously in that BMW will get a better start than Mark. So maybe could be seeing some side-by-side action into turn 1 for the top 2 then, and obviously the others have to keep an eye on them as they go through sector 1, because I know there'll be a lot of side-by-side between all of them guys. But yeah, we're coming around then for the final corners as before we go for green flag racing. But yeah, as we now mark around the penultimate corner then, as we head into the final corner, we'll have to see as everyone lining up in their boxes then, we'll have to see how they get on. Obviously we know where the line is. It's if Mark knows where the line is, Peter will have a better indication of where the line is, of where because he's where he started in the before race. But yeah, obviously we need a better camera, and Kukunos, please, thank you very much. So obviously that line you see on the ground is where the start line is. It's just after that line, so as soon as Mark passes that line, just a few yards after it, we will be green flag running. So you can see them all lining up in position then, as we're about to get underway then for the second race, the final 30 minutes. It is green flag running again, but it is a great start for Mark actually. Peter has not really got the start he really wanted, but Mark really hugging to the inside. Peter going to try to go around all the way around the outside, but Mark's still going to have the inside and still into P1 then. Lots of contact at the back of the grid, and there's multiple cars backwards and a few off track. Lots of cars, lots of action. I think Marcin Bania and Pryor getting involved in that, and a few others as well, but Ben Goret's already made his way up into P7, and plenty of action. Obviously the number 15 McLaren's made the most decisions, already in the back of Will Gossel then, so lots of contact at the back then between some of the more experienced guys. Obviously the less experienced guys showing you probably how it's done a little bit better, but Ben Goret already up into P6, already looking on the back of P5 before the end of lap 1. So like you said, Peter would have needed a better start. We didn't really get the launch he wanted. We can see the McLaren looking for a dive on Will Gossel, and Ben Goret will be probably most looking for an overtake on a lot of them. You can see they'll be going 3 wide down the straight. Well, this is something you don't see very often, but at a track like Kota, it does leave you the space. But you can see the McLaren looking for the slipstream, but it's not going to be enough against that Mustang. Mustang will just pull through, luckily. And again, Gilroy then another 2 places for him, as he is up into P4 on the first lap already. Yeah, I mean, that is definitely something. But Will looking to fight back. That's late on the brakes for the Porsche of Maple. Contact with Usby. And that I think sent Usby a little bit wide, but has cost Maple a position to Gemiel and another position to Hanak and the Audi as well. So plenty of action already happening. You can see very squealy on the exit is that Audi. It's going to allow Kelly alongside then, and Kelly is through around the final bend. So on the first lap already we've had multiple position changes. Ben Gilroy's gained 8 positions in this race already. Nowaki another 3. Will's lost 2, Usby gained 4. So yeah, Pryor actually being biggest loss out of this is lost 9 positions. Obviously maybe due to a contact at turn 1. We'll have to see how that is. But any more information about that turn 1 contact, Harry?
It was pretty hard to decipher, to be honest. It's being put down at the moment as rejecting Naples penalty, but I think probably it's going to have to be one that's got multiple angles and multiple stewards having a look at it after the race, because it's all sort of happened where 4 or 5 cars sort of came into turn 1 at once, and
yes,
there's even
big
more
contact. Yeah. Mark unfortunately getting a spin, and it's caused more contact. But yeah, like you say, maybe the stewards will have to look at that a bit later. But we'll see more contact for you, and even more contact for you, as making your day a little bit harder.
It was actually going well until this second lap, so.
But yeah, all the while then, Peter Lupritz inherits the lead as Ben Gilroy already just behind him, and you would like to imagine that Ben Gilroy will be looking to get the pass like he did previously on the BMW in the first race, and pretty much looking for a repeat move. On the back straight they go. Only on the second lap then, Ben Gilroy's gone from P12 to P1, and I would imagine no one will be stopping him anytime soon, as the BMW still holds it around the outside, still looking to the outside. Ben Gilroy giving a little bit of a nudge, but the BMW still holding on the inside then. These two still side by side. Obviously the BMW holding the inside now, as you're going to do another little tap to Gilroy, so still side by side they go into the final sector, and it's now Gilroy with the inside. Obviously the BMW still going to hold the outside, And yeah, the inside line there is much more powerful than the outside. And yeah, Gilroy through, but a little great battle then for the lead of the race. And like I said, you'd like to imagine that Van Gogh will now pull away from this. But we'll have to see how that goes. But obviously, Mark Mass then, from the lead of the race, has spun. I'm not sure how he did that all particularly. It looked like quite a weird spin. He just sort of like hit like a little those things in Mario Kart, and you go spinning.
Banana.
Yeah, that's the one, banana. It looked a bit like that. But obviously, unfortunate spin, and obviously the drivers behind can't really avoid him when he's in the middle of the track. I'll have to see how that plays out, of course. But Hanak actually gaining a position on Usby down into turn 1, and Jamil's looking all over the back of Usby as well. So Usby struggling a little bit. Obviously has got damage to that Ferrari just a tad, and obviously a car like that, obviously made out of paper mache, any bit of damage really is really going to hamper his car. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Obviously 25 minutes left of this race. Obviously literally done barely any laps at all. So they're on the 3rd lap, and we've already got 2 cars in the pit lane, and quite a lot of incidents already. So this is what I expect with the reverse grid, but I think most of the contacts are actually just between more of the experienced guys at the back anyway. But less of that. But we'll continue on with Jamil, who's still looking to push after the Usby. Gap is currently 0.6 of a second. So hopefully we can see a bit more of a battle soon. But you can see in the background there, that is a Marcin Bania. Obviously won the last race, obviously getting involved in some of the contact at turn 1, looking for a move on the Audi then. Down after back straight they go, so that's Kelly in front, and yeah, that was a fairly simple move for Bania, but he does go deep, which causes the Audi to get the outside line. These two also going to be side by side, just like we saw just a minute ago from the others, but the Audi letting Marcin go there, and doesn't seem to want to fight that all too much. But yeah, Bania then back into P9 as he'll chase it after Kelly. And yeah, I mean, that gap from Gilroy already 3 seconds. So Gilroy obviously has some serious pace around a track like this. So we'll have to see how that works out for them, as Mark does it another position to Maple then. So it's really struggling. That's pretty much gone from first to almost last, unfortunately, due to a spin. Gilroy already doing a 2:04.9, so setting the pace of the rest of the guys is no one else is really close. I mean, the other fastest lap so far is a 2:06.5, and that's from Marcin Bania in P9. Other than that, everyone else is doing a 2:07 roughly. Actually, Hanek did a 2:06.0, sorry. So he's the next fastest as he looks to chase down the BMW of Lupert as well. And Jamil has sort of the gap to used to be a sort of disappeared just a tad, but Bania then still in the battle of Kelly, so he has got the Audi just behind, so these guys can't be battling for too much longer, otherwise it's going to cost them to the Audi in the long run. But yeah, Kelly obviously had a good race, finished in P8 last time when contact was made between Peter and Pryor, and looking to hold on to that P8 then is Kelly, defending the inside then. And it's Marcin Bania all the way around the outside. Might even get the move done before the corner. He does, but Kelly might get the better exit out of this corner. But the Aston is going to have the straight line speed. I think the Aston is going to pull away on that straight, unfortunately for Kelly. But just ahead then, the McLaren and Will Gossell fighting for P6. As we've got 22 minutes left of this race to go. Is going pretty quickly. Yeah, I think Marcin not really too happy with the track and the setup. We saw last race, really fighting the McLaren, but seems to be holding on for now. He seems to be fighting for P6 then for Will. He was doing a good job to hold on to that position just for now, but he does make a mistake, and it does allow Marcin around the outside then. Still side by side, these two will go. It's a great battle to see some of the less experienced guys get involved with these guys. Obviously Will is still a good contender, and yeah, Marcin has gone all the way around the outside there. Fantastic move from the number 15, looking a lot more confident now in the second race. But we'll cut back up to the top 2 then. Let's say the top 2, the P2 and P3, as Hanak is 0.2 of a second behind the BMW. We'll be looking for a move into turn 1 potentially. Thinks about it and doesn't go for it, but making himself as big as possible in the mirrors. as Peter will be looking to hold on then for a P2. Be a great result for him. Obviously got the drive-through in the last race, which is going to hamper his results just a bit. But if he gets a good second race, then he should just be okay. Yeah. So Hanak will be looking for a move quite quickly. I don't think anyone will be catching Ben Gilroy today, as the gap's already 6.5 seconds. So yeah, I mean, crazy pace. We know the pace he was doing in the first race, but just to do the, in a 30-minute race, and he's already pulling, 7 seconds in the 2 laps. So incredible. But Hanak then still making himself as big as possible in those mirrors, looking for the moves, trying to fake a move on Lupertz. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be working at the moment, but I think Hanak might actually get the straight line in the slipstream, but the BMW seems to be pulling away. So I know the BMW is fast on a straight line, but with that kind of gap, you would imagine that Hanak would be getting a little bit closer, but not so this time. And obviously these guys can't fight for too long, because usually is not that far behind. It's only 1.6 seconds, and gaining. If these two squabble for too much longer, we can see Hanak is just trying to look for a move everywhere possible. But Peter is doing a great job at defending, and yeah, that gap's already come down to Usby to less than a second now. So yeah, Peter's doing a fantastic job at defending that P2 position. But obviously now Usby is part of this as well. Is now within 5/10 of these guys. So that's what it really cost you in terms of a lap time. But if Peter can hold on for another 20 minutes, he will be securing a P2 finish. But obviously Usby Hanak also involved in this as well, not that far behind is Jemiel as well. If this continues even more, Jemiel will eventually catch up as well, but I believe that's Hanak not close enough this time for a move into turn 1. So Peter doing an okay job at the moment. It was relatively equal on the lap times from these two last time round. Actually used to be doing a 2:06.4, so roughly a second quicker than these guys. You can see penalties being applied for that 62 car. But yeah, Kelly actually spun Will Gossel. I don't know if he spun there. We'll have to go back 15 seconds to see that a bit more, maybe on the TV cam or the heli cam. Sorry, we'll see a better angle of what just happened. But Will going a little bit late on the brakes, and does spin unfortunately, and Kelly has nowhere to go and does lose a position to the other Audi as well. So 2 positions lost for Kelly. Unfortunate, but he's still in the fight for that P8. But currently then Hanak looking for a move up the inside goes Hanak on the BMW driver, and does all right, but the BMW is going to tag Hanak, and all the while that's going to spin Hanak off the track. So that is the 27 BMW holding on and through again on Hanak. Hanak will not be happy about that one. Quite a small tap led into a big spin, but now Usby 0.2 of a second behind. Obviously Jemiel catching the gap now, but Hanak has had a reset down in P5 at the moment, and has got to try and catch up all over again. This is not really what he wanted, but Peter still into P2 then, and Usby just behind and looking to put on the pressure and see what he can do against the BMW driver. We'll go on board with Usby just to show you how close he really is. He is quite close indeed. You can see using all of the track involved in this final sector. But again, for another race, we're seeing quite close battles. The biggest gap at the moment is Darkness and Mark, and I know Darkness was in the pit lane, but without anyone pitting, the biggest gap is Gilroy with 12 seconds. But Gilroy's in a race of his own at the moment. But yeah, it used to be then 0.3 of a second behind the BMW. The BMW just pulling away on the straight. Not a lot Usby can do there. But I'll say, like we saw with Hanak, the longer these two fight, Jemiel and the cars behind are going to catch back up. And Hanak is only 3.7 seconds away from Usby, sorry. So that still not that far. It did luckily not lose too much time. But yeah, Usby then 0.4 of a second behind Peter. And we're looking for a move quite shortly, but again, that straight line from that BMW really helping him out as a mistake from the BMW actually, as Usby be looking all over the back of him, and we've got on the onboard of Usby, but I wonder if he'll send a dive onto the back straight. I wonder what he's planning to do. He doesn't think about it. He's going to hold on for now, so that BMW will get a much better straight line speed than Usby will. But Gemio was in this fight as well now. So Usby's got to look in the mirrors as well, but all the while it's going to allow Hanak and Banio to catch back up to these guys. So it's definitely going to be interesting indeed. I'm actually going to see if I can get the top speed trap of these guys. So Ben Gilray on the speed trap is doing 266 kilometers an hour, and Peter doing 263. Usby doing 261, as is the Porsche behind, and Hanak doing 263 as well. And the fastest at the moment is 268, and that's literally by Bania, 2 kilometers an hour faster than the thing. But Usby
Contact front.
yeah, contact was made. Sorry, I missed that, but yeah, contact was made, and Usby is now through. Hanak into P3 as well, as Peter has lost more and more positions. Unfortunately, he lost to Bania, General, Hanak, and Usby because of that. But yeah, I mean, that's what they're going to show. I mean, when the battles are so close, contact or mistakes like that, or just anything really at all, it can drop you a fair few positions. But Peter now will be looking to rejoin the train and try and get through. But that's 62 getting a drive-through penalty for track limits. It's really unfortunate, as so we saw Peter do it earlier on as well, and have to serve that or get that added to his race time. But no, I think he's going to have to serve that before the race ends, unfortunately. But yeah, Bania then 4/10 of a second behind Jamil. So yeah, plenty of action already in this race, and 15 minutes left then. See Ben Gilray 18 seconds the gap. So really pushing out front at the moment. I mean, I didn't really expect them to be up into P1 so quickly, but it's a 10-second time penalty for Usby for that contact, and another 10-second time penalty for Peter as well for those contacts, earlier contacts as well. So that is a penalty getting applied then. Obviously, that's going to affect their race as well. Obviously, Hanak, Bania, and even their number 15 McLaren, all in those 10 seconds. Well, pretty much a lot of people are in these 10 seconds, so it could really change things up come the end of the race. It's going to affect the podium for sure, because Jamil currently is on the podium, unless Usby gets that appealed, but I don't think he will. That was quite a clear penalty in my eyes, but obviously I'll leave that to the stewards. Yeah, obviously maybe not the best second race, Harry.
Yeah, certainly vastly different from the first one. Obviously, the first corner didn't start off too well, and then from there on, it's just sort of been we need to get up to the front as fast as possible, which is sort of against what they've been told in the end-game chat. But to be honest, with the reverse geared sprint race like it has been, it's always going to happen.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, these drivers only 30 minutes, so not a lot of time really to get the moves through, especially on a grid like this. You really have to try and power through as many cars as possible, but obviously maybe some others try to do it as left. But Hanak then trying to make an overtake on Usby. Usby defends that nicely, and Hanak will have to look somewhere else for the passes. Bania also looking for the same move on Jamil. So we've got two battles once again going on to keep updated, but watch on board with Hanak at the moment. Obviously much faster than Usby, you would imagine, at this stage of the race, as Hanak will be looking to secure a P2 finish. Well, obviously Usby's got penalties, but actually on track Hanak will be looking for a P2 finish no matter what. And obviously, see if the gaps stay as they are, Usby could be losing a little bit more and might even put himself outside of his sponsor targets. But they go side by side towards the back straight then, and I'd imagine this would be a fairly simple move for Lucas to get through. But Usby did think about going around the outside again, but did think better of it, and now has to settle for P3. But yeah, like I said, with that penalty, it will put him down a fair few positions at the moment. Obviously, with Peter as well, also will lose quite a fair few positions. He'll drop down to P10 as it stands. So yeah, I mean, that's on a grid like this and how close this grid is in terms of competitiveness at the moment. A penalty really does mess up your race just a little bit, but I believe it's Maple and Kelly going side by side then on the exit of the back straight, and it is Maple through into P9. Obviously Maple has a drive-through penalty to serve, but nonetheless making a move on Kelly then, as they try and rescue as much of their race as possible. We'll see how they get on. Obviously, it has to I'm pretty sure they have to drive through this lap, so they'll have to come in, and Kelly will be released once more into some clean air. Obviously, I think they'll actually lose. They'll go down to P12, and they'll be behind Mark come the end of the drive-through, unfortunately. But obviously, that's what happens when you go and cut the track through there a few times. Obviously, I know Kernosson not the best in terms of track limits, maybe especially on an old track like this, but still, nonetheless, then Bania and Jemiel getting very, very close then into turn 1, as Maple now into their drive-through, of course. But yeah, obviously these guys getting quite close, and Jemiel catching Usby, so Usby not on the pace he really wants to be on at the moment. Obviously with the 10-second time penalty as well, not really helping his race a single bit. But yeah, 9/10 is the gap between Jemiel and Usby, and Vania only 6/10 behind as well. So all the while then, I have to keep an eye on this gap, but Vania still looking for maybe a top 3 finish, another podium to add to his Sunday Sprint Series record, pretty much. I'm pretty sure he's finished on the podium for at least 90% of the races so far, so pretty good record. But you can see Hanak, then Usby, then Jemiel, then Vania as they come across straight then. Currently Jemiel last time round was a personal best. It was a 2:06.9. That was quicker than Usby. Obviously Usby getting involved in a fair few things as well. Obviously Bania behind, a 10th quicker than Jemiel last time round. But the fastest person on the track at the moment is Ben Gilroy. Still, he's doing the 2:05.1 last time round. That's about a second or 1.6 seconds quicker than anybody else on track at the moment, at least. And obviously his fastest lap is a 2:04.6. And last time round, yeah, another lap time in the 05s for Gilroy. So really showing all that pace in that Mustang for sure. But still got Banias behind Jemiel, but Jemiel makes a mistake on the exit of the corner, and it will allow Marcin around the outside to make a move on Jemiel, but Jemiel will get a better exit, holding the inside of the corner, and Jemiel might most likely look for a move into turn 1. You would imagine, maybe not, Aston pulling away on straight then. But yeah, mistake from Jemiel, and it has allowed Bania to get through then. Sort of unfortunate to hear and see, but still they move forward. Usby last time round was a 2:06.4, and trying to pull away from Bania as much as possible. And it's doing so. It was an 07 for Bania last time round. It was 2:07.2. There's a 2:07.8 for Jemiel, obviously with that mistake as well. So Usby just trying to settle in at the moment and try to break away from Bania. I don't think he's going to do. He can't really pull away from that 10 second he's got, unless he wishes for a miracle, in which Bania and Jemiel have an incident, or they both lose ground to him. But yeah, obviously Usby trying to limit the amount of damage that 10 seconds is going to have on his race. Obviously he's got sponsor targets to meet, so he'll try and do his best to try and meet those. But Kelly then 9/10 in the gap then to the Audi. Obviously we saw them not long ago just fighting, and I'd like to imagine Kelly will be looking for another P8 finish for him and his car, as Bania actually 2/10 behind Usby, and maybe a mistake for Usby, because that gap has dropped quite a fair bit all of a sudden. And just as I was saying, as Usby's been looking to pull away, and all of a sudden Bania is on the bumper of Usby, so maybe a mistake from the Ferrari driver, which has allowed Bania all over the back of him now. And that's not really what Usby wanted. Obviously he wants to limit the amount of damage and effect that 10 seconds has on his race, so not doing that at the moment. Obviously got 6 minutes left of this race before the checkered flag falls, and the way it's looking at the moment, obviously we could get a very different podium than what we've currently got. Currently obviously it is Ben Gilroy in first place, then Hanak, and then Usby, but Usby has got a 10-second time penalty. So at the moment, in talking of net positions, it'd be Bania, but Bania going for the inside, maybe want to do it on track even, but Usby covering that off nicely, and yeah, Bania's going to have to try again of course, but obviously Banya will want to try and get it done on track just in case there is any appeal from Usby. So you'll want to just secure it just in case of that. A drive-through penalty for track limits then for Mark down in P11 at the moment, but the Audi then trailing Kelly. So Kelly has got through on the Audi driver. So Kelly now back up into P8 and will look to try break away then and try gain as much ground as he can with the cars ahead to try and get himself within this 10-second of Usby. But as it stands, I don't think he's in it. He's not. He's got a fair way to go if he wants to do that, but with a few mistakes, and if these guys keep battling up ahead, then it might be possible for Kelly to gain from that 10-second time penalty. So he will gain the 10-second time penalty from Peter. Still plenty of action for sure to come. Obviously, Badia then still trying to chase off Usby, trying to find the best line pass, and obviously General's not that far behind. Obviously hovering around a second at the moment, but just trying to stay within them guys and be ready to pounce in case of a mistake, like we've seen already. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been an exciting second half of this race. Lots of action. Obviously, unfortunately, a fair few amount of contacts, but luckily nothing too serious, which has affected drastically the race drastically, other than that lap 1 incident, but not too bad at all. Obviously, Mark will have to come in to serve his drive-through. He will not have enough time at the end to get it added to his race time. Mark will have to get that added, but I think that's Maple actually on the back of Mark and actually making an overtake on Mark. So the Maple had to serve the drive-through penalty, if you remember, and now just getting through on Mark then after serving that, and then Mark will have to serve his. So unfortunate, but it is the way it is sometimes, and quite unfortunate. But I would imagine Mark will be almost happy that his warning counter will be changed back to 0 once again. But we'll cut back to Banya as he's still chasing off these. Then the gap is 0.4 of a second now, going up to 6. So yeah, these guys are definitely pushing at the moment, both setting similar lap times. Usually was 3:10 quicker last time round. Jamie actually dropping off just a little bit, but was quicker than Banya last time round, so maybe a mistake from Banya into the final corner, or a couple of final corners, we don't know. But yeah, I mean, Ben-Gur is still up the top then, still in the 05s. I'm not particularly sure how he's doing that. He's just staying super consistent at the moment, as we got 3 minutes remaining then. So we'll see only a couple more laps of racing before the checker flag falls. And in that case, obviously, he's still got his penalty. We're going to be sort of work that out as we go. But Gemmill obviously gaining from that as well. So we're looking for a P4 for Gemmill, but still, Banya did think about making a move on Usby there. He did have the overspeed to do so, but he has forced Usby into a mistake, which you don't see all that often. Yeah, I mean, Banya looking for the outside on Usby, but it's not going to be too much. But Banya, you can see massive snap from the Aston Martin driver. But yeah, forced Usby into a mistake then, which is not something you see quite often. All the while then, Banya tucked back in and just trying to put the pressure on for Usby and try and make that done on track. Obviously, Ben-Gur has already started his lap. Got 2 minutes 20 left on the clock. So next time Ben-Gur comes round, it will be the final lap of the race. Yeah, 2 more laps of racing for these guys then. This lap and the next. But Banya then looking for the move up to turn 1. He's super late on the brakes. Into turn 1 he goes. Actually really wide, and it is going to allow you to back through on the switchback. So Banya maybe a little bit too over ambitious to make that move. Obviously he's got only a couple more laps to do it now. Obviously Jeremy not that far behind at all. Yeah, this is the closest battle on track at the moment, and one definitely worth paying attention to, although usually, like I mentioned before, it has got a penalty, but it doesn't matter. It's all about who does it on track for the podium. Obviously, as it stands at the moment, Banya will be getting that P3, Jeremy will be getting that P4. We'll have to see how it plays out, because also Peter has got a 10-second time penalty as well. So yeah, still Marcin then still trying to put the pressure on Usby as they come onto the back straight, and we'll have to keep an eye on where Gilroy is. because Gilroy is currently in the final sector, as you can see indicated on the mini map on the right.
Benny's looking for a move, but he's not going to go down the inside at least. He might try and get the switchback, but I think he wasn't late, but he didn't quite get the apex. Obviously, he's got this 10-second penalty, so Bernier doesn't quite need this position, but getting it on track is all as good as well. Obviously, if Eusebio does appeal, it does go through, then it will be a P3 for Eusebio, which I don't think it will go through. The penalty, I think, like Lily said earlier, was deserved. But it looks like Bernier's dropped back too far now, at least to make a move on this lap. We do know that Aston does have a little bit of pace down the down the start-finish strip, but I don't know if it's enough for that Ferrari. Obviously, we saw earlier it was between the Porsche and the Aston Martin. We'll have a look as we go down now. Not maybe the greatest corner from the Aston as he again brakes slightly too late, missing the apex. As the Aston rockets down the start-finish straight. Too far back on Eusebio. I think he's about 7/10ths down now to make a move. He's going to at least look for it, but again, a little bit. It gets to the corner nicely, to be fair. He's all over the rear of the Ferrari now. It's going to be final few corners of this track now as we're on the final lap of the race. It's been a clean end to the race so far. Let's hope we can keep it the same between these two guys as the Ferrari gets a little bit of a better few turns in there. The Aston's dropped back a slight bit now as well. Further behind, not too much going on. All the gaps are about 1 or 2 seconds between each other. Obviously, if Eusebio does finish where he is right now, he would be placed into, I think about P6, as obviously Peter Lupertz also has a 10-second penalty. So it's not too bad. I think he'll meet at least his team sponsor target, just in terms of career there. But I don't think Eusebio will be too happy with this outcome overall. Obviously, penalty points do affect the car's wear, so he'll have to pay a little bit more. And the fact that he's got a Ferrari as well, that'll be increased expenses for himself. So he'll be looking to get something better from the next race as Martin looks for an inside move but doesn't go for it. Gets a decent corner, but the Ferrari gets a better one as we head into the final sector now of this half-an-hour sprint race. I think it is going to be a Eusebio P3 across the line unless there is a mistake made here, which of course is going to be different to the final standings should that 10-second penalty remain. But as I'm saying it, Gilroy has crossed the line in first place. What an excellent race from himself there. That was entirely dominant. I mean, I think Hanek's at least 20 to 30 seconds behind, which I've got to say, starting from the back to get up there and even being 20 or so seconds ahead is an absolutely spectacular result. So well done to Ben Gilroy and well done to Lucas Hanek as well, who's come across the line 23 seconds behind Ben in his number 77 McLaren. Eusebio crosses the line in P3, but obviously that will drop down as Bernier does not have a 10-second penalty, who crosses the line in 4th, just behind Gemil in 5th, only 2.5 seconds between them. Peter Lupertz crosses the line in 6th, but with his 10-second penalty that'll knock him down towards the P10 or P9 area, as that will promote Marcin Nowacki. It's P6 with Joel Kelly behind, being promoted into P7. The Audi of Drozd crosses the line 5 seconds back from Kelly. That'll promote him to P8, I believe. Just about, actually it might not be. I think Lupertz might just slide himself into 8th place. As Will Gossel is also now coming around the final corner to finish his race in the 10th position. And that is the end of the race. So that was a spectacular result towards the end there. A good bit of battling between Bernier and Eusebio. So the final standings, as you can see on the left-hand side, Eusebio finishes in P5 and Lupertz finishes in P8. As you can see, the drivers in there doing some donuts at the end of the track, and Mark is congratulating himself for leading a lap.
Yeah, definitely an exciting one for sure. Obviously, the end of that race was definitely getting a little bit hectic with Bernier and Eusebio, but like I said, Eusebio had a penalty. And what a great race that was, and what a way to end the Sunday Sprint Series. Obviously, back very shortly for the Supercharged Sunday Series, which starts next week. So, yeah, it's been a great series, and obviously looking forward to more. If that's it, then I think we'll end the stream here. So thank you everyone for watching, and of course, if you haven't already, make